You,
Great, welcome everyone. I'd like to call the special meeting of council to order at 5:01 p.m. And to announce Councillor Chris Mondor will be excused from today's meeting. Adoption of the agenda. Be it resolved the agenda be presented or amended. Are there any additions or deletions, anything?
Have two additions for the in-camera.
Okay, and they are. There's one.
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
Item 3 under personnel, unsightly property.
Thank you.
Councilors, any other comments? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor? Carried.
Aye.
Mover. My apologies, may I have a mover? Councilor Sliker. Seconder. Deputy Mayor Dornbos. Item 3.1, approval of accounts, November 18th and 21st, detailed reports. Has everyone had a chance to review?
yes. Mayor, if I could just interject for a second, if you could just speak up just a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, may I have a mover to accept the Sheppy Patel report, November 18th to 21st? Deputy Mayor Dornbos, seconder. Councilor Moretti. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item 3.2, bylaw 4377, organizational bylaw, second reading. Did one of, did the CAO or assistant CAO wish to make comments on this? Yes.
Yes, if I could, Madam Mayor. Yeah, this bylaw, and I hopefully you've read the emails I've sent to, it's fairly rushed, of course, having this put on the special meeting agenda didn't give us a lot of time to prepare for it. So what we have managed to put on isn't ready for third reading. Certainly, we could give it second reading, but I do think it needs a fair bit of discussion and debate, and I think it should wait till after the Gordon McIntosh and the priority setting. If we did choose to still continue with the committee model, as council indicated last meeting, I think it's good to understand the overall priorities agreed upon by all council, and that should happen next Monday and Tuesday at the Gordon McIntosh. At that point in time, we would be in a better position to sort of draft the direction that council or that committee needs to go to conform with council's overall goals. So I would suggest, as I have in my memos that I've sent you, that we defer the second reading, even not do second or third reading, that we discuss this at the committee, the whole meeting in December in more detail and go from there.
Okay, thank you. Council, do you have any comments?
I think that we should carry it.
Councilor Moretti?
No comments.
The CAO has some valid points. The changes that were mentioned, they're not all listed. I believe Councilor Sliker requested changes. Perhaps this should be deferred because there are a lot of changes to implement into the bylaw. You know, other than the signing authority, that one's straightforward. But the other ones, I think we could defer that and then read the entire bylaw and do it properly. And then we don't have to keep bringing it back numerous times. Is council favorable to that?
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yes, I would agree with that because this is a bylaw that's going to govern us for the next 4 years. So we want it done properly for sure and not have to readdress it every couple of months or something like that, because it does take a few months to go through the 3 readings. So I would be in agreement with that.
Okay, thank you. So we can defer this then till the first meeting in December. Is that fine with everyone? DJ, is that enough time?
Yeah, could we defer to the committee the whole meeting and have a good long discussion at that meeting rather than stick it on a regular agenda?
Okay, that's fine. If that's the wish of council, we can do that as well. Okay, fine. Then we'll table this till the committee of the whole in December.
Thank you.
Okay, item 3.4, ad hoc personnel committee, the terms of reference. Oh, yes, there it is. Council's had an opportunity to review this. The committee will be comprised of myself, Councillor Peebles-Corn, and Councillor Schleicher. It's to develop recommendations for replacement recruitment strategy, request proposals from an HR or recruitment company, participate in the shortlist process, determine if an interim CAO is required. This committee will remain active until a new CAO is in place. And with the resignation and retirement of our CAO and assistant CAO, I think if the terms of this is acceptable, then we should set a meeting as soon as possible, or a convening date for all of us, and then we can report everything off to council as soon as possible. Is that good with everyone? Councillor Stryker?
Yeah.
Thank you. Colleen, do we need a resolution for that, to accept that?
We can, and I just developed one. Resolve council accept the terms of reference for the ad hoc personnel committee as presented.
Thank you. May I have a mover, please? Councillor Mareki, seconder.
I'll second it.
Councillor Hunt, all in favor? Very.
Aye.
Next item, Petersfield Curling Club Emergency Fund funding request for the ice plant repair / replacement. DJ, will you be speaking to this?
Yeah, I can speak to this a little bit. I believe you and Lori have also been involved with conversations with the club, but my understanding is they've been planning to replace their ice plant in 2023 for a while now and have been trying to raise funds for that. Unfortunately, the ice plant didn't cooperate and it started failing this year, so they've been trying to keep this thing running so they can salvage their curling season. That is resulting in a fair bit of increase in cost for them. Looks, when I add things up, it looks like it's going to be probably in the ballpark of about $40,000 in 2022. The club's in trouble as well because they've had to cancel a lot of revenue opportunities because the ice plant wasn't working. So they're not bringing in revenue and they're creating a lot of expenses. So we have that request for decisions, which we try to do for any complex topic, and I think Teresa has done a good job explaining, some of the options. There is just a simplified option. And I'm not sure it's on that or not, but it is just straight up agreeing to reimburse their expenditures up to $40,000 in 2022 and pay that from the Recreation Reserve Fund. And the Recreation Reserve Fund is set up for that type of purpose. It's not a specific Petersfield Community Club fund. It's for all recreation, and it has enough money certainly to cover that $40,000 this year of council as well.
Council, do you have any questions?
I have a question. Why is the amount so high, $40,000, considering that the ice portion of it would only cost possibly, we were told, anywhere between 20 to 25?
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear all that.
Okay, so they're requesting about $40,000 for an emergency fund.
Yeah, when I go,
And it's basically just ice that they're needing right now, correct? The ice is not, obviously it's not solidifying, so they're having an ice problem. So
I believe so.
Okay.
Yes.
So that isn't $40,000 worth of cost. It should be anywhere between $20,000 to $25,000, if I'm not mistaken. We had discussed this previously. So
Yeah, I
why
did.
high amount?
Yeah, I am suggesting up to that amount. That also, I've seen the few invoices and I believe you've seen the email as well. And I think you're right, it is about $25,000. The email also mentions some contractor and some labor that's also occurring, that also was uncovered. So just the budget number I put in there was 40,000. We wouldn't transfer the 40,000 under this scenario that I'm proposing. We would receive the invoices from the curling club and reimburse the curling club after they paid them, you know, at the next meeting in December probably. And those invoices shouldn't equal more than 40,000, but perhaps they won't equal more than 30,000. It's just about getting that plant up and running.
So we're just putting aside 40,000 just in case.
Yeah, providing a cap on it, you know, we're not saying we're going to give you as much money as you need to fix it. We're saying we're going to reimburse the expenditures you need to make in 2022 to get them over this hump, and we don't expect those to exceed $40,000.
Thanks, Vijay.
Any other comments? Councilor Slaker?
My understanding that $100,000 reserve for the Petersfield Curling Club, why aren't we, is that where we're taking this money from, or where's this money coming from?
If that question's to me, the $100,000 was set aside by, I believe, the previous council, and I'll let the two previous members of council speak to that. That was for a capital project, is my understanding, expansion of the facility one day. Wasn't intended for maintenance issues. What Teresa has mentioned in her paper is there is a grant for next year that we could authorize for up to $50,000, which comes from a different fund of money, but leave that $100,000 intact for any future expansion or new building that community hall or the community curling club needs to undertake in the future. I think that's accurate, but I would certainly, I wasn't here when council had the discussions about the $100,000 capital fund, and I'll leave it to the mayor and Councillor Hunt to add to that.
Yes, Councillor Hunt, memories?
Yeah, well, I think that's. I can't see. Am I being recognized?
Yes, we can see you.
Okay. Yeah, that was $100,000 went into a capital grant. And I think they pulled some, and Marisol, if you can remember too. I know there was some engineering there about moving the entrance from the west side of the building to the east side with an elevator. And then it was said, why don't you encompass the elevator and the entrance into a new entrance for a new building? And that's what they did, I think. So that was done. But like I say, this is too big of a project for volunteers. So it has to come back to, I think, an RM owned. I think we have to own this like we are going to own up in the south one day. And so in order to capitalize on grants, we have to have the money because all grants are based on 50-50. So the more money we have in that account, the more we can access grants. So the more money we can leave in that account, the better for accessing grants, if that's the road we want to go down, or that's the road we want to go down, I think, is recreation. I hope the master plan says that, and we can move forward with it and take this money out of the rec reserve. And there was mentioned in, I think, the CEO's report about having an emergency fund available, like for all these clubs. It doesn't have, ice plants, air conditioning, heating systems, water systems. We should have a fund that these clubs can access with bills provided, that is actual money in, money out, or money out, money in, whatever. That these costs, that they can't substantially, they can't cover because of, they run on a shoestring budget now. So I'm okay in moving that motion then to up to $40,000. And like I say, I hope it doesn't cost that much, whatever they need to get back up and running for this year. And then we can help them fundraise through granting systems for next year to put an ice plant in. So
Thank you.
that's about what I know, I think.
See, I remember that 100,000 was set aside for that expansion and that renovations they were doing. But I thought it was Deputy Hornboss was right that it was around $20,000. Because I know they're an excellent group. The SL, all their clubs are suffering, but I just think we should be getting some type of financial statement from them, something and not just give $40,000. And if we don't know what the repairs are, I know there were two estimates, and I believe that was between 20 and 25. That's all we should be approving right now. Until we get some kind of firm numbers. Counselor
But I
Hunt?
think like it was mentioned though by the CEO, we will only pay upon provided invoices. So at that time, the curling club probably would have paid or they're sending us the invoice to pay that amount. So we're not paying an estimate, we're paying actual invoice, correct? I would believe, Mr. CEO.
Yeah, and if I can just add, you know, and administration wouldn't cut a check or send a check until it came back to council anyway. So what I would expect is prior to the next council meeting, curling club would provide us a list of invoices that they paid, and we'll approve the reimbursement of those invoices. So that would happen at the first meeting in December, and then in January they might pay a couple more invoices, and that would also come to council just in the accounts, and we would approve those as well and reimburse them at that time. That's how I see this flowing through.
Counselor Slater?
Where are we getting this $25,000 to $40,000? Where's the money? We have no financial statement for the last year. So how do we know we even have it?
Yeah, it's in the reserve fund, and we have several reserve funds, and the recreation reserve fund is one of them. We have a general reserve fund that could also cover this type of expenditure. So we do have the money set aside for this type of event.
And how much is in that reserve fund?
I don't know, maybe Tim knows off the top of his head. Last time I looked, I thought it was a couple $1 million.
Yeah, that sounds about right, DJ. Offhand, it is about that amount, yes.
Okay, thank you. So what is the cost of the invoices they've sent to us so far? I remember seeing a while ago, I got so many emails, 16,000. They were short, now there's more.
I'm just looking at the emails today, and you know, I didn't add up the specific emails. I think I was like Councillor Ken there. It looked to me to be about $20,000 to $25,000. I believe when I looked at them quickly, but I looked forward, I guess, to think what they were going to spend to the end of the year, because we wouldn't want to have to pass a second resolution necessarily. But you know, certainly, you know, we could calculate that while council's in camera and come back with a specific number later.
I have a number here, 16,501 currently. And that's to date, and any additional unexpected expenses would be over and above that.
Councillor Snyder?
I think my comfort level would be better at we cap it at the 25,000 or whatever. We take that out of the Petersfield reserve that they have. Then in January, once everything is brought up to date and new council has a chance to see all these reserve funds for different things, we can easily move money from the reserve back over to it. But I don't want to see new council get caught with everything not balanced out, and I haven't seen anything balanced out since I've come to council.
So what, any other further comments? Would council be comfortable with the 25,000 and it would come out of the rec reserve? Kim or DJ, that would come out of the rec reserve?
Yes, if that was council's wishes, yeah, we just need to put that in the resolution.
So you're not gonna take it out of the Petersfield either?
Well, that's for their building. It's a separate thing. This is like emergency ongoing repairs. Like an emergency, and we can't shut them down for the year. I mean, everybody's suffering enough. They need this. This is their income. So any further comments on matter? Okay. Did we have Colleen, do we have a resolution prepared for this?
I just drafted a shorter one.
Okay, please.
Resolve council reimburse the Petersfield Curling Club for the expenses incurred in 2022 up to a maximum of $25,000. And further be it resolved, the monies be paid out of the Recreation Reserve.
May I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Sorry, Counselor Hunt. Or you moved it? I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, So moved, yeah.
You had further comments, Counselor Hunt?
No.
I'll move that 25,000. And like I say, if it's, it's 25, 30 or 40, whatever, if another bill comes in, we can approve it for next meeting. So as long as let's hope it stays, around that amount and we can, not putting money into an old plant that we're going to replace next year anyway. So hopefully they get it up and running and good luck to them.
Thank you. Seconder Deputy Mayor Dornbos. Any further comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Counselor Slaker, your vote?
I'm not in favor.
Okay, thank you. This carried. Now we have in camera. Move in camera. Resolve the council move in camera at 5:22 PM to discuss matters that are preliminary stages and respecting which discussion in public could prejudice the municipality's ability to carry out its activities or negotiations, as well as legal and personnel issues. And be it further resolved that the members of council agree to keep in confidence a matter that is discussed at a meeting that is closed to the public under subsection 152(3), and that the committee decides to keep it confidential until the matter is discussed at a meeting of the council or of a committee conducted in public. May I have a mover, please? Councilor Mareki, seconder. Councilor Feeblecorn, all in favor?
Aye.
We're now on camera. Okay, we've removed, come out of in camera. Be it resolved that council move out of in camera at 6:47 PM. May I have a mover, please? Councilor Slaker, seconder. Councilor Mareki, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, we have a resolution coming from out of, from in camera to rise and report on. Be it resolved that the employment of the CAO is terminated effective November 23rd, 2022. May I have a mover, please? Councilor Slaker, seconder. Councilor Mareki. Is there any
I'd like to ask-
discussion?
I'd like to ask for a recorded vote, please.
Thank you. Who was the second? Oh, Councilor Mareki. Well, this is an in-camera item, personnel. Well, we have to take the vote. All in favor? Opposed?
And
Aye.
just by reason,
Normally, I would go ahead. Yeah,
just on, because of the length of short period of time and the costs. I lobbied and to support rec and playgrounds, and I just feel like that money could be better used.
okay, that's fine. Thank you.
I agree with that.
Okay, so 2 opposed, 4 in favor. So it's carried. Okay,
You
thank
have a
you.
question?
I wasn't prepared. Have you noted all of the people that were in favor? Thank you so much.
Yes, and I have a prepared resolution.
Thank you.
for me as well. Thank you. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the meeting. Be it resolved, the meeting be adjourned at 6:49 PM. May I have a mover, please? Councilor Slaker, seconder. Councilor Mareki. Any further comments? Okay. All in favor? Carried. We're adjourned.
Aye.
Thank you.